Right after school started this year, I wanted to go alone on a Greyhound bus to Iowa. Now, you may be wondering why I wanted to go to Iowa, or why anyone would ever want to go to Iowa. I can answer one of these questions. Everytown for Gun Safety was having a presidential gun sense forum with 18 candidates, and I desperately wanted to attend. It was Wednesday, the very first day of school, and I wanted to be there on Friday. So I immediately went to my mom. She gave a quick and vehement no. No way was I going to go alone to Iowa on a Greyhound bus. I was devastated. And then my sister said something that really struck me. She asked my parents, what if Greta Thunberg's parents hadn't let her sail across the Atlantic Ocean? I don't have any delusions of being like Greta Thunberg, but she is just a little more than a year older than I am, and she's probably the single most influential teenager in the world. Of course, I don't know what changed my mom's mind, but I did go to Iowa that weekend. Although not by Greyhound bus. We can take away many things from youth activists of the past. Their mistakes, failures, and eventual successes teach us how to succeed today. The same way that toddlers learn to talk from listening to their parents, we must learn to make change from learning about youth activists of the past. Not only can younger generations learn from past generations, but older generations can learn from us about how to make change using all of our new tools and advantages. Looking to the anti-war movement. This movement has been going on since the mid-1800s, and throughout its entirety, young people have been involved. Looking to the Vietnam War, the very first protest against the Vietnam War was in 1945, when a group of merchant marine sailors protested the usage of United States ships in the transportation of French troops to Vietnam. The last protest against the Vietnam War was in 1973. Now, not only was the war protested here in the United States and also globally, but it was protested by those actively serving in Vietnam. In 1965, Richard Steinke, a West Point graduate, refused to board a plane taking him to a remote Vietnamese village, saying the war, quote, is not worth a single American life. Soon afterwards, Steinke was court-martialed and dismissed from service. Then, 3 more soldiers followed in his footsteps. They too were court-martialed, but were then imprisoned. That day, Richard Steinke displayed courage. He had the courage to stand up for what he believed in, even when it went against everything that he'd been taught. Today, people who are truly courageous, like he was, are few and far between. Sure, lots of people care about lots of issues, but how many people are really willing to stand up for what they believe in? I think that we should all be a little more like Steinke and stand up for what we believe in, even when it goes against everything that we've been taught. The anti-war movement can then be traced to more recent efforts, such as the Campus Anti-War Network, or CAN. CAN is a student-led organization that opposed the war in Iraq and military recruiters in schools. Many parallels can be drawn between CAN and other student-led organizations, such as Students Demand Action, or SDA. CAN has held 2 national conventions, and SDA just held theirs. CAN has also employed the tactic of a walkout, which has resurfaced in recent years, since National Walkout Day on April 20th, 2018, when tens of thousands of students walked out of school to protest gun violence in America. Looking to the civil rights movement. This movement has served as a template for every single social movement to come since then. Walkouts, sit-ins, marches, rallies, even cross-country voter registrations. They all originated or became popular during the civil rights movement. At its height, the era drew young people for everything from meetings to marches. And when asked why so many young people decided to become activists, Joyce Ladner, a former activist herself, said, quote, "The movement was the most exciting thing that you could be a part of at the time." Today, the most successful youth movements are also extremely exciting. We can take away a lot of things from youth activists of the past. Their mistakes, failures, and eventual successes can teach us how to succeed today. First, we should remember that in a movement, it takes everyone to be successful. It takes everyone who stuffs an envelope, who writes a letter, who calls their senator, who marches, who rallies, who votes. It takes every single person to be successful. Because a movement takes both Dr. King and it takes every single person standing in the crowd that day. Because without them, he would have been just one extremely profound, but ultimately lonely man. Secondly, beware the dangers of slacktivism. Sure, posting on your Instagram story or your Facebook story might seem like a really great thing to do, and it might make you feel really good. But I'll tell you right now, you're not making change. You're not an activist. Sure, awareness is the first step in any movement. But posting on your Instagram story or Facebook story is dangerously close to doing nothing at all. If you're content with that, then please continue. But if you want to really make change, if you want to be an activist, if you want to be like Richard Steinke and Martin Luther King Jr. and every single person that we revere today, you should do more. Have the courage to do more. Lastly, to all the adults in the room, don't underestimate the young people in your life. They are much more intelligent and influential than you could ever imagine. And to the young people in the room, never let someone tell you that you're too young to have an opinion. You're not. Young people have always cared about our world and have always wanted to make it better. But today, we need to make countless decisions about how our world is going to look in the future. And in 20 years or in 50, our generation, we will be the ones who have to deal with the decisions made for us today. Politicians are always talking about how they want a better world for their children. Well, now, their children want that better world too, and we're willing to fight for it. All we have to do is be courageous. Thank you.